All right.
You're
so
on.
Should I introduce? Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is Joy, and Joy is going to give me the best session ever.
Yes. Hi. I'm Joy Rigberg. I'm going to demonstrate a B.E.S.T. It's bioenergetic synchronization technique treatment, a short treatment with Angelina here, and I'll describe everything as I'm moving on. Maybe I can say that B.E.S.T is a light touch energy healing treatment that helps me to clear out old limiting beliefs, old emotional upsets that have not been resolved from the subconscious, and which is not allowing the body to and the energy to flow as it's meant to. So our byproduct of that is our bodies are not healing. We're getting more physical injuries, mental, emotional upsets, and so this helps to clear out the root cause of these upsets and allows the system to be synchronized and the energy to flow as it's been designed to. So I'm going to start by doing some muscle testing. I'm going to find all the information I need from her system, her body, doing some muscle testing. So I'm looking for any kind of interference or a change in the leg length and the spasticity. Okay, and we're going to start by just taking a big deep breath in the belly. Yeah. Big belly inhales and exhales. Allows the parasympathetic nervous system to turning on the natural relaxants and the healing system of the body. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple things. Okay, and so I'm going to ask you, Angelina, just to think this neutral thought. The sky is blue and your eyes are open. Okay? And the legs are really tight going out. A lot of defense physiology kicks in with people when they're unused to this kind of a treatment and muscle testing. Okay. And now close your eyes and think that same thought. The sky is blue. Okay? And I'm just looking for leg length difference. The left leg went short when she did that with the eyes closed. That's testing the subconscious mind and the energy flow there. Okay, now we're going to go up to the arms and see what information and where the energy is segmented in the upper part of the body. So I'm going to ask you to lift up your right arm. Good. The shoulders on the table, elbows locked, and the wrist is floppy. And I'm just going to give a light push, and you're going to hold back against my pressure. Okay? This is a neurological test. It's not a muscle test. I'm not testing the strength of her muscles, just to see where the energy is not flowing. When we think a neutral thought like the sky is blue. Okay, so eyes open, thinking the sky is blue, and then hold against my pressure. Good. And then close your eyes, and again, think the sky is blue, and hold my pressure. Perfect. Okay. And then you can lower that arm, and lifting up the left arm. I'm going to test the left side of the body, shoulder down, arm. There we go. And again, eyes are closed, thinking the sky is blue. And hold against my pressure. Good. Open the eyes. Again, the sky is blue, and hold against my pressure. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. You can lower that. And so what that tells me is that the energy is strong, both in the arms, with the eyes open, so that's conscious, and eyes closed is subconscious. And then at the end of each of these rounds that I'm guided through, the legs will be even. So a short leg that we tested with the sky is blue, like right here you can see, you can even probably see that one leg is shorter than the other. Okay? At the end of this treatment, the legs will be straightened. The spasticity meaning the flexibility in and out will be equal. Okay, so now we're going to go through this chart. Her system is going to guide me through this chart, and we'll leave that out. And then we'll see what your system wants to do. Now the body is always working in priority, in priority basis, and the priority for the body is survival. Survival, it's what's happening right now. So let's see what we're going to do. Okay, so your system took us to a recurring thought. Is there something that's been playing around in your mind? Something that you think over and over? And it could be so far back, but you know it, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so think that.
Okay.
And I'm going to test and see if that's reactive.
Okay.
If there's a change in the leg length or spasticity, then I know that there's been a reaction, and that tells me that yes, we're going to work with this recurring thought that she's thinking. She just needs to think it. So you're thinking that, eyes are closed. And the leg went tight on the outer. Okay, and then open your eyes. Think that thought, and the legs are even here. Okay. So that tells me that that is a reactive thought. So now I'm going to go through this chart and find an emotion that is linked with this thought. Okay? Okay. And so the word that I was brought to was the word vulnerable. All right? So you may or may not have a resonance with the word that comes up, but vulnerable is the word, and I'm going to test and make sure that that word is reactive. So eyes are open. Vulnerable. Just focusing on that emotion, and it is reactive because this leg went straight when it was shorter when her eyes were open before. So that's any kind of a movement or a change in the physiology is a reactive thought, and that tells me that the energy is blocked. So now we're going to go through this chart and find out several things. I'm going to get you a position to hold your eyes, a number, it's a dominant frequency number, a breathing pattern, and then I'm going to get some contact points to hold up at your head. All these things together unlocks this combination, which unlocks this pattern that this emotion is involved with, and the synchronization allows for the blood to flow and the clearing to happen. All right, so let's see what we're going to do. So for this, your eyes are going to be open and looking to the right. Okay, so open, so your head will be straight. Good. And then just the eyes looking to the right. Got it. The number is 4 that you'll be thinking of. And when I get up to your head, you're going to hold your breath in, and I'll remind you of all this, okay? Now I'm going to get some contact points. Okay, and I'm going to hold 2 points at the temples. All right, so I'll tell you everything in a second. So I'm acting like jumper cables right now, and we're going to synchronize the 2 sides of the brain. Okay. So your eyes are open and they're going to be looking to the right. You'll feel a little tension for sure. You're going to take in a breath and hold it until you need to take in another. Okay, so hold it until you can, until you need another. You're thinking of the number 4, and you're focusing on this feeling of vulnerable. And the invitation is to forgive and release and embrace any interference regarding vulnerable. Good. Breath is in, number is 4. I forgive, release, and embrace all interference as it relates to vulnerable and this recurring thought. I'm waiting for these strong pulses to come in, which they just have. So you can relax your breath, good. Relax your eyes. And then you're just gonna do a little reset here. Lift your head and look down at your toes. Good. And then, yeah, that's this righting reflex. You know how like if a cat falls off of somewhere and it lands on all fours, that's what this does. It just rights everything right back. So now we're gonna test again and make sure everything is good and strong. Okay, arm is up. And I want you to think, I am clear for the feeling of vulnerable. And then hold back against my hand here. Okay, we'll try that again. I'm clear for the feeling of vulnerable, and then hold against my pressure. Good, that's super strong. Close your eyes. Think again. Clear for the feeling of vulnerable, and then hold against my pressure here. Perfect. Now think of that recurring thought, the previous one, remember? Okay. And hold against my pressure. Good. Open your eyes. Think of that recurring thought, and then hold against my pressure here. Perfect. Beautiful, strong. Now we're going to lift up the left arm. Drop that one. Okay. And again, thinking I'm clear for the feeling of vulnerable, and then hold against my pressure. Perfect. Close the eyes. Clear for the feeling of vulnerable, and then hold again. Perfect. Think of that recurring thought, and then hold against my pressure. Perfect. And then open your eyes. Think of that again, and hold. Okay. Let's try that one again. Eyes are open, thinking of that recurring thought, and hold against my pressure. Okay. Let's just point and flex your toes. Sometimes some updating needs to happen. And you're also new with the arm, the muscle testing, so perfect. All right. Thinking of that recurring thought, eyes open, and hold. Perfect. Good and strong. All right, now we're going to do the same at the feet. Make sure everything is nice and straight. Good. So eyes are open, thinking I'm clear for the feeling of vulnerable. Legs are straight. Look at that. Beautiful movement. And then close your eyes. Think I'm clear for the feeling of vulnerable. Good. Legs are straight. Legs are moving beautifully. Perfect. Eyes are closed still. Think of that recurring thought. Good. And then open your eyes, perfect, and think of that recurring thought. Great, legs are even, spasticity is equal, perfect. So I'm just gonna close this out in just a second here, hold on. Okay, all right, so yeah, your system says that we can close it up here and that your system is balanced. So what we're gonna do now is you're just going to sit up onto the side of the table, and to integrate all this practice, what we do is these cross crawl exercises. Left shoulder. Yeah. So opposite arm, opposite leg, just like that. And then here we go again with the other side. Head over the right shoulder. Back and forth.
It's like doing a glamour shot.
Just a glamour shot. Back and forth. Cross crawls. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. And then now or later, just gonna walk opposite arm, opposite leg.
Okay.
Right? Opposite arm, opposite leg. Nice and slow. Okay? But you can stop with this, the cross crawls. Make sure you drink a lot of water and hydrate. And notice what you notice. How do you feel?
I feel good. I think it was really interesting for me to pay attention to the distinctions throughout the whole process. And it's that balance between submitting to the process and then analyzing so I can be aware of the difference of what's working.
Well, you don't need to do any of that. There is no analytical or analyzing needed, and that's the beauty of this work. It's all energy. So everything, what we just worked with, whatever happened in the high brain centers to clear out that old pattern from your thought that was related to that word vulnerability, and then along with those other pieces that we added in, right, which were helping to unlock the pattern in the brain so that the communication can happen, the body can respond, the muscles can move, the system can heal, the energy can flow. You don't need to know anything else about it. You don't need to think about it or
You just
anything.
need to be,
Just
accept,
be.
receive.
Yeah, and many times if somebody has come in with a physical complaint, they'll notice immediate improvement with that physical complaint. The energy is moving again. Sometimes there can be a reactivation, and when a reactivation happens, it typically happens at night when you're asleep. But the system is working its way back to the beginning when that was first created, and sometimes, as that layer is peeled off, something else can show up, an old injury, an old pain from 10 years ago or something like that, an old thought or something like that can show up, but this is all part of the healing. So just knowing that is helpful. But
knowing that is helpful. That's a really good way to put it. Can you touch on how you doing this for others and then also you being a beneficiary of the same technique has helped you navigate through the journey over the last year? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Oh yeah. Thanks for asking me about that. Yeah, I receive 2 treatments a week. So it hasn't even been a whole year yet, but I lost my partner passed away last November, right after Thanksgiving. I had been treating him weekly and as well been getting treatments myself. But what this work has done for me, not only, the most obvious has been the physical release of trauma from my body. He passed on the pickleball courts in my arms, and I what was it, a month maybe after I was able to go back out to the pickleball court, I can recreate the scene in my mind as it's going to do, and yet there was no physical PTSD or reaction in the body. So there's that, as well as like emotional release. Old patterns have been eased up. Like I don't even think about them, but then it shows up. Like I played in a pickleball competition the other night, and I was able to play without going into the old fear that I used to, the physiological heart beating and the shaking, and it was, and I had a little reactivity because I had a treatment the night before, so I got out there and lost the first 2 games because I had this recreation of this trauma, this fear of competition or whatever it is, right? And then I did the practices. There's so much involved with this B.E.S.T work as far as breath work, these 6 essentials: how we eat, what we eat, how we breathe, what we drink, how we sleep, most importantly what we think, right? That plays a huge part. It's a commitment, this work. But after I did that, I did some of my breathing. We won the next 3 games, so that was fabulous. Yeah, everything is changing, subtly. Old, like I said, old patterns are just easing up. I'm not triggered
with you,
and he's there.
He is there with you, cheering you on. From the stands. Absolutely.
Yeah, he leaves me an occasional feather here or there, and shows up in a hawk. I don't know how much of this you'll want to add, but he does.
Important.
I see him.
We share the grief journey. Me with my son, and you with something.
Yes. Yeah, so this work has been a blessing for me, and every time I facilitate a treatment, I receive as well. So it's a win-win for me. Beautiful, magical work. Thank you for this. Thank you.